This is yet another panel led by me, Darren Paltrowitz, about the Long Island music scene and its evolution here. Scott Waldman, a two-time participant in this. Scott is a musician, a manager, just an all-around great human being, which is comparable to both Neal and Matt. Do we say Matt or Matthew?
Either one. They both work for me.
Matt/Matthew and Neal, both musicians, both artist managers as well, with Long Island roots. So thank you guys for doing this. It is a pleasure to have such experienced veterans of the Long Island music scene on board here. But before I continue, I have to know, how did you guys all meet? Because you all knew each other and I didn't know that.
I actually don't even know how we originally met in the first place.
I think of that bowling alley in the Five Towns.
So Neal and I started playing in a band when we were probably freshmen in high school. And we started playing in a bowling alley that was in Woodmere called Woodmere Bowling Lanes that still exists today. And I don't even know how it does.
The royalties from our double bill when Last Week would play with We Are Groove Animals, it keeps them afloat.
Makes sense.
There was a band in that scene called The Royalties. Am I right?
That was an unintended consequence of a bad joke. I don't know, but it sounds like they were a ska group with more horn players than everything else. And they probably played at the Wetlands.
I think you're right on all those things. I think they were a ska hip hop band called The Royalties.
2 words, right?
Yes, 2 words.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, they set the trend.
So Neal and Matt, you guys actually met in high school?
We actually went to different high schools. So my neighbor was the mutual connection between the two of us. So he went to the same high school as Matt. And we decided they were looking for a drummer to share in our crappy cover band. I think it was The Verve Pipe was the first song, Freshman. And they're like, oh yeah, my neighbor's a drummer. We should just come over. And then we decided to just jam together. And that was kind of the start of everything. I was like 16 at the time. So it's been a long journey.
And back to ska, Mustard Plug covered that song. So
Did they really?
Yeah.
I know Norma's Lemon Stand though.
I mean, the Long Island ska scene is very, very complex in that real musicians came out of it. Besides yourselves, Dan Deacon came out of it. World-renowned composer Dan Deacon came out of that. And I'm just waiting for that one day must happen Long Island ska documentary.
Well, Dave Galea, who's Paramore's booking agent, was in Edna's Goldfish. Brian Diaz has worked with Fall Out Boy, Motion City soundtrack. So Long Island ska still lives on.
Brian was
recently
for Guns N' Roses for a while as well.
Wait, what were you going to say, Matthew? I'm going to moderate this shit.
I was saying that we recently had a call with Dave Galea, just talking about one of our artists, and we were totally fanboying on the phone to him about Edna's Goldfish, and he thought we were absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, no, I did the same. Great. I feel like there's maybe 7 people who've done it, and 3 of them are in this room.
And other members of Edna's Goldfish and Step Lively and the Royalties and etc.
Chimichanga. I think the Lightweights. I went to a Long Island ska compilation CD release and they didn't even have the CD. Like it was celebrating nothing. So that's actually when I learned never to book a CD release show until you have it in hand.
One of my favorite bands from that whole circuit was a non-ska band because eventually
Who Cares?
I was going to say Who Cares. Did Who Cares ever play at the Vanderbilt? I don't think that they did.
Who knows?
Real answer here is who cares?
I see what you did there. And that was my sequitur into saying the Vanderbilt, when I think about the Long Island music scene, if not my favorite, it was my second favorite venue on Long Island because it was this weirdly upscale place that had non-upscale artists playing, the weird VIP rooms, the overpriced drinks. You'd see Danzig on a Tuesday and a local band on a Wednesday and something upscale on a Thursday. Now, Scott, you went there for, was it an
Just
MX
one show, because I haven't lived on the island since 1999, but I remember it was either between my freshman and sophomore year in college or my senior year in high school and my freshman year. I saw MXPX, Good Charlotte, Ultimate Fake Book there. And it was just one of those shows where every band was killing it. Good Charlotte was blowing up, and MXPX was kind of like maintaining and a little bit falling, but it was really cool. And I still listen to all three of those bands. So that's my one show there. Deja One was my mecca.
I'm sure we could do a future episode on Deja One where System of a Down played. Is that true?
System of a Down, Get Up
Didn't know that.
Kids, Adam and His Package,
Wow.
and every ska band.
25
we
to
mentioned
life.
before. But now I guess this is where I shut up and listen to AFA talk about this venue. So I'll just be quiet.
Yeah, so Matt, before
Oh,
we
man.
officially started, you said you not only attended shows there, you played shows there and promoted shows there. How does that work?
So since Neil and I have been in band together, we've just been super hustlers on the promo front. So I'll start there. So we used to go to shows there and hand out flyers of our band after big shows there that we saw, so that, you know, we could make new fans that we didn't have before. We didn't have, like, you know, the crazy internet stuff going on today. Like, we were actually out there talking to people in person and just, like, you know, giving them a flyer and a takeaway. And we kind of built a really nice fan base that way, which is interesting. But yeah, in terms of playing shows there, the most memorable one that I can think of is with a little band called Maroon 5. It was right when Songs About Jane came out, and we were a band that was called Last Week at the time, and there was this guy Harlan Friedman who ran something called Tri-State Sound, which was a local radio show on WLIR, which is now defunct. But he brought us into the fold, and he was putting on these great shows with great headliners, maybe not so known yet, but he'd throw the local bands on the bill with them. And I remember playing with Maroon 5. I remember going into the weird dressing rooms that you were talking about before, and Adam Levine coming up to me and being like, "Hey, I'm Adam. So nice to meet you." Like, was very, very, like, nice and respectful. And then when they got on stage, I mean, they freaking killed it. It was incredible. Like, I don't think we'd seen anything that good in a while. I know Neil will remember that they covered 9 Inch Nails. And but we were just standing there like it was that good.
Yeah, before I ask Neil for his take on that, I was not only at that, I remember the 9 Inch Nails cover. I was standing somewhere around the stage around them, because I think Super Drag was on 1 or 2 bands after them. Maybe Phantom Planet was also on that show. Does that ring a bell?
That was a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was probably before that.
I do remember them covering Closer, but Neil, do you have that great experience, or did Adam brush you off and you don't?
You know, I thought they were awesome, and they were actually super cool. And might I add, I thought the Vanderbilt was fucking great. Okay, like, the dressing rooms were amazing. The awkward stage that was too wide and too short was great.
It showed.
You know, yeah, basically. You know, as a young kid, like, playing that stage was just, I mean, it was awesome. You know, and those weird boxes at the top that nobody knew what to do with. But yeah, I remember when they played that, the most memorable scene from that Maroon 5 performance, especially that cover, was the bass player holding up the bass going, ba-da-da-da-da, just playing that bass line. I was like, this is so badass. And then it's weird to see them now as, like, this pop band. I'm like, oh my God, you would never cover Closer again. Like, that was that one, like, little snippet in your history that you were, like, cool before being, you know, huge. And, you know, that'll always be, like, a little piece of a memory that, you know, a few people will have known, like, this little circle right here.
Yeah.
We played with them years later also,
yeah.
And they were actually extremely successful and opened for them at a show, and it's just us and them. And they did not play Closer.
No.
Was that at the downtown when you opened for them?
I think that other one was at
Princeton. University.
Princeton University. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Wow.
wild.
But you said a great name, somebody that I'd run into a lot of times over the years, Harlan Friedman. And he created an interesting thing with Tri-State Sound where it would be like 6 or 7, and I'm just coming up with that number, but 6 or 7 local bands, and then 1 or 2 bands that were about to make it on a major label, and then maybe a headliner. And so you didn't know when you got to that show, what time is the headliner going on? I don't know. What time does the show start? I don't know. But you guys played a few of those?
We played
Played a
many of
number of
those.
them. Yeah.
Some even at the Vanderbilt, and the downtown. So it kind of spilled over into a lot of different venues. But yeah, I remember
A
at
lot
the
of great
Vanderbilt.
memories.
Yeah. And Harlan was great. I mean, he was just a big champion, and a lot of us that played in that little group are still friends today. So it's really cool just to be connected to that. I think it was a special time.
And I think everybody who was in that group is doing great things in music right now. There was a band that we played with all the time. There was a number of bands that we played with all the time. One being a band called Bandcamp.
Oh yeah.
And which is Matthew Coma right now, who is Winnetka Bowling League, and Chris Mazzarisi, who's his brother, who's also in the band, and who owns Big Fat Snare Drum, that company. And then there was a band called Stage with Ryan Starr, who's the CEO of Station Head. There was a band called Tripside, where Ryan Siegel was the singer, and now he is in Party Pupils with Max. Who else was in that scene?
Then there was like SGT, and then a couple of those members like Paulie are now, musicians and filling in for like some great bands now, and everyone kind of went on.
King's band.
El King, yeah, that's what it was. So everyone kind of went on to do some, either collectively or individually, just some cool stuff.
Well,
which is awesome.
To pause what you're saying right there, when you're talking about Ryan from the band Stage was on Warner Brothers, and then didn't he wind up on a competition show like Rockstar Supernova? Would that CBS show? Yeah. I'm getting the medal.
Yeah, you nailed it right there. He did that.
Playing just at the Vanderbilt in the second or third band, and then fast forward a couple of years, and then he's having millions of people watch him every week on CBS.
Well, he also toured with Bon Jovi, and he did a lot of cool stuff, and he's still doing really cool stuff with Station Head, which is a really cool app that you should check out.
And then you said Matthew Coma from Bandcamp.
And Eve Six.
And Eve Six, yes.
And Hillary Duff's husband.
And produced Shania Twain's last album or the one before that.
This one, and wrote Clarity.
Wow.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So those are just 2 examples of people, because the Long Island scene in that era, 9 Days had been signed a couple of years before that, and that was coexisting at the same time that Taking Back Sunday, Brand New, Glassjaw, a lot of major label bands. I'm curious to get each of your takes. Do you think it was a coincidence that all these bands were coming out of Long Island, or is it just always been this great scene that not everybody picks up on as a scene?
Both. It's people usually, like when Nirvana was blowing up, then every A&R rep went to Seattle. When, Drive Through Records was doing really well in the early 2000s, people were going to VFWs in Jersey and on Long Island. So it didn't hurt that there were just so many great bands coming out of that scene. I guess it's in the water.
Yeah, Neal and I, at least maybe I'll just speak for myself here, but the mecca for me at that time was 9 Days. John Hampson, Brian DeVoe, that whole thing. I was mesmerized that they could have a hit of that magnitude, and I actually knew the guys in the band, and they'd give me advice, and we talk, and it was just an incredible thing for me at that time. And I remember seeing them at Sam Goody at the mall when they released their record. I remember seeing them at the Vanderbilt, speaking of the Vanderbilt. And we later went on to work with the same management company that they were on. And yeah, I mean, those are incredible memories. And we were never really tied into the whole Taking Back Sunday brand new thing until way later. Way later, we worked with Mike Sapone, who produced both those bands, with our band, and we did a couple records with him.
Yeah.
Neal, anything to add?
Step it up, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. That pretty much kind of told the tale right there.
Neal wasn't
Yeah,
as
I don't
big
know.
of a
It was
Nine
just-
Days fan as me.
Yeah, he that was definitely all him. I mean, I definitely skewed a little bit more to like the Taking Back Sundays and the brand news, and that stuff. But I don't know. Yeah, there was like there was a community. You know, I just remember waking up every day and going to the studio and meeting with all these different musicians, and it was like a collective, and everybody was kind of helping each other. You know, and when I look back now, I don't, or even the last like 10 or 12 years, you don't really feel that. I don't get that sense anymore of like this like collective of like people that are just doing great things and like rising together. I feel like, you know, I don't know why that changed or what happened. You know, maybe just time and stuff, and trends, but you know, there was something really special about it. And
Well, I live in LA, and there hasn't been a real scene in LA since the 80s when hair metal was doing well, honestly. There
Yeah,
I'd
really
argue
isn't.
with that.
I
I
would
think there's a
argue with
lot
that
going on
too.
right now.
Okay, good luck. I live here.
But when I think about Vanderbilt and Harlan showcases and all that, I also think about a lot of people who had record deals and the records didn't come out. They became these infamous people project kind of things. And I want to say a couple of these names. I'm curious if any of you have any memories of them. Does anyone remember Fuzz Bubble?
Name vaguely.
Neal, I'm not getting a shake of the head.
no, I have no idea.
So Fuzz Bubble was this band from Long Island that I think moved to LA, that they were the first band that P. Diddy signed to Bad Boy. And I think he
Wow.
put them in the All About the Benjamins video. They made an
Yeah.
album. It was Power Pop Gold. He put them on the Godzilla soundtrack, and then the album just never came out. It's kind of this infamous Long Island band.
Well, 9
What
days.
was the name of the song on the Godzilla soundtrack? Because I love that soundtrack.
Was it called
course you do.
Godzilla or Powerful or something like that? I'm pretty
I'll look
sure
it up.
I'm pretty sure they stuck it onto Spotify, the whole album.
Wow.
There was them while Scott is working the Google machine. Does anyone?
Oh, hold on.
Out There.
Hold on. It was
Out
the
There.
was the singer's name Donnie?
Don't think it was Don. The guitarist wrote all the songs. It's one of those bands.
Singer's name Mark, but I remember there was a big stink about like a rock band on Bad Boy because everyone just knew Bad Boy from Mace and Puff Daddy and Biggie. So
that was one that didn't happen. Does anyone remember Carl Restivo?
Yes.
Is that a I knew him next question or a?
Yeah, no, I knew him. Neal, you knew him too from
did?
hanging out at Tomas's studio back in the day.
is
I
Tomas
forgot-
Flu 13?
Flu 13 and then Diffuser.
Diffuser.
Yeah.
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 Yep. I don't remember who that. Well, by name.
I
Maybe by
forget the
face.
name.
He was a bass
Carl-
player, right? Bass player.
He played guitar in one band and bass in another band. He was playing bass in Extreme for a while, but I remember Wyclef had signed him to his label and maybe the album never came out. That was another one of those.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do remember him. I haven't spoken to him in a long time.
And then the last one of those I'll bring up. Does anyone remember the band Coward?
Oof,
Vaguely
no.
familiar.
Nope.
They were on Elektra for an album, and then the singer-songwriter Shep Goodman became a big
Oh.
A&R guy.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, we're friendly with Shep.
Yeah.
He's a very successful producer and writer.
And how could you mention all that without mentioning Wheatus?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Amazing. I love Wheatus.
Now, Wheatus, from what I hear, was a festival headliner in Europe, and then here it was like
They
barely-
still are
They're huge. Yeah.
huge.
Same with Zebrahead. Just saying.
Zebrahead.
Crazy.
Love Zebrahead. We played with them too.
At the downtown.
Wheatus.
Oh wow.
Yep.
I planned
Weird,
that.
weird show. Weird pairing, weird show, but Still cool.
Well, then I think Joy Zipper was another band from Long Island that was only big in the UK. Does that one ring a bell to any of you?
Yes.
Name sounds familiar, but that's about it.
I think they were kind of like the Lemon Twigs, where it was first huge in the UK, and then they come back here and they played 100 people. And then
How is that not the biggest band in the world right now?
Lemon Twigs?
Yeah.
Scott,
And are
no?
they? Is their dad like the Diodaria?
I think he is.
That makes sense.
My
And
dad
he-
sold fabric.
Fabric softener.
Sure. Whatever you need. Good price.
What does Franma do?
Franma before the pandemic was teaching, and now she's just being a remote grandma. And I miss you and I love you.
I miss you too, Lovey.
That was wonderful. I'll ask Grandma this. Did you see any shows at the Vanderbilt or know about the Vanderbilt?
No.
And
She saw my band play Ground Zero, aptly
yeah.
named in Belmore, and
That's right.
various shows across Long Island. But Vanderbilt was just a foreign place to me. But again, it was a cool venue, and I feel that. What was the capacity there? Was it over 1,000 people?
Like 800.
Okay, that's amazing.
does anyone
And I-
remember what the parking situation was like at the Vanderbilt?
Well, I remember the parking lot, but was there something
too.
weird about it?
You go up a hill.
Yeah, and then it was like just
I don't
in the
remember the
back.
actual parking.
And then there was probably only 100 spaces, and then you'd have to keep driving up the industrial hill. It was almost like going to Yankee Stadium, but not wanting to So you have to
Okay, yes, it's coming back. Yeah.
3 buildings away to the auxiliary lots. I didn't know if I was the only one who didn't want to pay for parking.
I do
If
remember
it's
when
Long
it was
Island,
really
I
icy.
can guarantee you're not the only one.
Yeah, it's dangerous in snow.
And
I just
Lugging
remembered.
gear.
I just remembered my absolute fondest memory of the Vanderbilt that I have, and it wasn't us playing or anything like that. It was a Less Than Jake show, and Less Than Jake, I was always a big fan of theirs, and it was like a big deal whenever they came to Long Island. So I saw them in the smaller rooms. Then Vanderbilt, which is like one of the bigger rooms, saw them play there. Got really amped to see them. Went to the show. They're doing really great. And then at one point, there was like a kerfuffle with somebody in the audience, and a security guard and a fan in the audience. At that point, the singer stopped the show and said, "Hey, you, the security guard, get out of here. You're fired." And then all the security guys left. So they kind of like, they're like, "Oh, if he's gone, I'm gone." And they kicked everybody out. And they're like, "Just be cool with us. We're not going to have any security." So everybody went up on the stage. I went up on the stage, sang with them. It was probably the best show I've ever been to in my life, ever. And I recently spoke to Chris, the singer, about it. And I asked if he remembered it. He was like, "Are you kidding? Of course I remember that. That was like the best night ever." It was like the fans and the band were like one with each other, you know, in a way that doesn't happen very often. It was so cool.
I saw Less Than Jake in Island Park on Long Island.
I did too.
And Newfound Glory, when they were called
Yep.
On Newfound Glory, opened, and the stage broke in the middle of the show, and my mom's car got towed. So that was not a good night, but Less Than Jake sounded good. So
was that at the venue called Industry? I think I asked you that last time.
it's changed name a lot. I feel like they changed their name because they always lost their liquor license. So
It's got to
was
be
like,
Industry.
It was like a
That-
beach
was-
club, like a Malibu type
Mom
place.
can say something. It was Industry for a short time, but I think before you.
There you go.
Yep. Listen, ask the authority.
Yeah,
That's funny that we were at those shows. We were all at those shows together. I don't know if we knew each other. Probably not. But it's funny that we all had that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure same with the shows in the city too. But I was born 81, I believe. Darren, are you 82?
82.
Are you guys like
83.
yeah, there you
82.
go. So as I was on my way out, you were coming in.
I was born in 51.
And you look great.
Well,
Please
Plainview,
mute my mom. Please mute my mom.
she is welcome to be here as long as she wants to be. But I was thinking about this, and Plainview, when it comes to music, all I can associate Plainview with music, besides it being the home of the Vanderbilt, which is now an OTB, I believe, is the rapper Hoodie Allen is from there. Is there anything else that you guys can associate with Plainview besides that and wrestling sensation?
The wrestler MJF, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
my
band
mom's
hidden
fiance.
in Plainview?
Yeah, was Hidden in Plainview from New Jersey?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, they were. That was funny.
There was a Sam Ash in
Yeah.
Plainview, or am I thinking of something else? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. That town, which supposedly has a rich legacy because I guess it was close to Grumman's, and which became a film studio and all that. I don't know anything coming from Plainview besides those things. Pretty much every town on Long Island, you can name a famous person or thing that happened there. But Plainview is just the Vanderbilt,
The Vanderbilt.
Woody Allen.
Yeah.
And Hoodie Allen's still going. Our friend
Yeah.
Nikki plays bass in that, and he was another one from a band called This Condition that
Condition.
was also in our circle. And Nate, who's the
Nate.
singer of that, is very successful songwriter right now.
Yeah.
Really?
Let's talk about the unsuccessful people.
Well, when you put it that way, I remember going to plenty of showcases on Long Island that were meant to be like Battle of the Bands, and A&R reps were going to be there, and there were no A&R reps. I don't remember if any of those were at the Vanderbilt per se, but it seemed like every time there was a Tri-State Sound showcase, everyone was playing as if they were going to get signed that night.
Moonchaba Lounge.
Moonchaba Lounge and
Oh, man.
Scotty D's Urban Joe Cafe.
That was Rockville Center.
Is that the one where you went downstairs?
That was the one that burnt down. Like,
What am I thinking of? The one that down says
Backstreet Blues.
Backstreet Blues. Yes.
all
And Backstreet Blues is actually why Neil and I are doing what we're doing today.
Wait, tell me about that.
Yeah, tell me about
So,
that.
yeah. Well, Neil may not know or remember, but we had played there a number of times. I think one time actually with This Condition we were just talking about. But I remember I went to a show there. I forget who I was seeing. Maybe it was The Used or something like that. And it was downstairs. And at the end of the show, we'd be handing out flyers and we'd be talking to people outside. And then I ran into John Janik, who is,
FBR.
who is a co-founder of Fueled by Ramen. And I just remember him standing there and talking to me. We were just talking about my project, and he was asking me about it, like super friendly. I was like, I couldn't believe I was talking to this guy who was running Fueled by Ramen. And he's like, yeah, here's my card, just email me this stuff. And from there we started a relationship, just talking back and forth, and I would send him demos, and it was just incredible. And I was like, wow, I want to do something like that where I could kind of have that relationship with other artists. And so that was kind of the impetus for starting AFA.
And John Janik, responsible for the success of Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Paramore,
Billie Eilish. Yeah.
Billie Eilish, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the head of Interscope now.
Interscope.
So. I feel like we're on the same wavelength, Mr. Matt.
Yeah, definitely.
Or
that Rolling Stone article.
Which one?
The one that just came out, right? With John Janik or something.
Oh, really?
You sent me to, right, Matt?
Yeah. It was, I think that was at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
See that article. That was not on my radar. I was going to throw it to Scott here because we left him out a little bit because he just had one show at the Vanderbilt. But did you go to any shows at Backstreet Blues, which was also called like 60 Below, or no?
I played shows and went to shows. There was another play, Mr. Beery's, we haven't talked about.
Mr.
That was a
Beery's
spot.
Yeah.
Deja One, like I said, was a pretty big one. I saw Glassjaw's CD release show out somewhere in one of the bays in Suffolk. And if you could tell me where it is, I'll tell you, because it was insane. But yeah, Deja One was just the place I used to love to go to all the time.
We got the nod before about System of a Down playing Deja One, but I want to keep this on Backstreet Blues for a second there. There was that venue, and then there was a second venue on the other side of Sunrise Highway that was, I guess, the lower level of a Japanese restaurant or a sushi place.
I know what you're talking about.
Brand new, open for Super Drag at that place in the anniversary. That was one of those Christian McKnight is going to have a venue for 4 shows before it goes to the next place kind of places.
I feel that we should
That's
also
amazing.
talk about the Witch's Brew.
The Witch's Brew in West Hempstead.
Love it.
Were there shows at the Witch's Brew?
It was good people watching shows. I'll tell you that. And their desserts were really good. I remember they had really good s'mores, and they sold clothes in like a really creepy attic, and it was just kind of like Hot Topic before Hot Topic.
I loved it because I never drank, and I still don't drink to this day, but I always felt comfortable there, like going there and just getting like a nice hot chocolate, sitting there and talking with some friends.
It was very
I actually
straight
went
edge
back.
friendly.
I went back maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Kids were still there. It's great.
The same kids.
Yeah, they just have beards.
Yeah, so those are the places, the Rockville Center, West Hempstead. So it's still within, 8 miles or so of Lido Beach, Long Beach, and all that. Is that an 8-mile sign? I've never seen that before, Scott. Okay.
I lived in Michigan, man.
Every day from you.
Every day.
Every day, I think people say.
What's in Long Beach now, Darren? Like what's happening over there?
In terms of venues and scenes?
Yeah.
Well, right before COVID, on the West End, there was a place, it's next to Cabana. I can't think of what the name is, but for a while, all these people who used to have record deals in the late 90s wound up playing there. So like Sammy Sigler, his band played there on a random Friday night. TJ from These People, who was in Men, Women, and Children, played there. Somebody else from Nightmare of You played there.
Was it more like a bar or a venue?
Totally a bar that does not have a stage or a PA.
Okay.
Wow.
It freaks the people out when they start singing and they go, I don't hear it. I don't hear it. Then here by the train station, about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, there's this benefit series of shows. I think it's the Tommy Modell Foundation, something like that. And they did one show where Deer Tick played in Long Beach randomly on a Friday night.
TJ Martell, right?
TJ Martell, yes.
Yeah.
What doesn't this Mac guy know?
I don't know. I know my Long Island, I guess.
Yeah, they tried to do comedy there once or twice. I was watching an Impractical Jokers rerun the other day, and I figured out they were in the Long Beach Hotel.
Cool.
Doing one of their things. So that happened. What else do we got? There was a professional wrestling show like 3 years ago in Long Beach in the rec center.
That's crazy.
You see Joan Jett every now and then walking down the street.
Does she live there?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She's my
no idea.
proudest moment as a cashier at a supermarket was
Was that at Stop and Shop?
nope, well, it might be called that now. It's called Associated.
The Associate.
I think my mom's
Right
running
next
the
to
show
Beach Bagel?
no, Beach Bagel is a little bit further. It's by East End Pizza. It's like right when Lido turns to Long Beach, shortly after that.
Oh, okay.
But
So
the Bagel Club is near it. But yeah, no, it was the
It's a
supermarket where
key-
every Jewish
It's
kid
a
worked.
key food. It's a key
Thank you.
food. Next to Lido Deli.
Yeah, I feel like they recruited at the Hebrew school because like everyone who worked there was, part of the J card. So,
It's no Marvell, though.
oh, I mean,
Don't forget.
obviously.
Marvell has a second location.
I mean, if you want to get,
What?
processed meats, it's better.
Is it
than
Marvell or Marvel?
It's Marvell.
Marvell has a second location?
It's on the
Yeah, it's
boardwalk.
on the
next
On the
to
boardwalk.
hotel.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
And that hotel, that's every now and then there's a TV pilot film there. I think Lil Peep's funeral was
Oh.
there, or like the ceremony.
I didn't
Was
know
that-
that.
You
So
mean
just
at
in general
Hollywood?
now, just in general now, Darren, like, cause you're in Long Island now, what's like the music scene there? Is there anything?
Well, I mean, COVID is COVID-tastic.
February of 2020 and prior.
Okay, so my last show before COVID was going to see Danger Danger, a hair band that was from Long Island on
I remember
Sony,
Danger Danger. Yes.
with Zebra playing. The headlines.
When are they not playing?
Yeah, I mean, it was packed in Mulcahy's. So
Another winner.
a couple of weeks before that, we saw Everclear and Sponge play at Mulcahy's.
How was Art's voice?
I
Is it
just
okay?
want to tell you, the name of that restaurant, I think next to Cabana, was Speakeasy.
She knows it. Yes, that is Speakeasy.
I was just thinking of it, yeah.
Well, she's totally right. And bands have been playing at Speakeasy on and off, and there's no PA or stage and curfews, or they just move the tables, and then bands set up a 3-piece drum kit, and then magic happens. But I would say with Long Island, there's a lot of stuff. It's just not very connected. So the thing is, Westbury Music Fair, which is called the Theater of Westbury, has nothing to do with the Bolton Center in Bayshore. And like 3-4 years ago, I saw the guitarist of Def Leppard, the bassist of Stone Temple Pilots, and a couple of people play to like 40 people in Bayshore on a Friday night.
Wow. Huh.
So there's stuff happening. You just have to kind of know where to look. My father's place reopened, I think, a year or two ago.
Hmm.
Does that
I heard
ring
of
a
What
bell?
about in terms of like younger bands, like, stuff coming up or artists, like what's the vibe? Is there any vibe as to what's going on? Anybody who's standing out?
There's great bands like I think the Card Reader, they're making waves, but I don't think that people are flying the Long Island flag per se. I think that people are trying to get off of Long Island and get into the city to do their gigs and more use social media than rather showcase out here. Or there's always a chance that I don't know as a grandpa, that they just don't want to tell me. I mean, what do you think the answer is?
Hold on, what, it was Card Reader? I'm gonna look them up because I don't know any band on Long Island.
Yeah,
right
me
now.
neither.
Oso's from, I think, Long Beach. But
Okay.
they're not huge or anything. And obviously
He
Lil
just
Peep,
recorded. He just
Lil
recorded
Peep.
with Sapone.
Lil Peep, yeah, and Lil Peep came out of Long Beach, and I had no idea.
Yeah,
I'm
most
like,
people didn't know when MF Doom passed away that he was from Long Beach.
I didn't know that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Long Island right now is a hotbed for professional wrestling. There's like 7 people on weekly television in the #2 company of wrestling right now that are from Long Island, from all these different towns right now. That's one of the hot spots or
Interesting.
hot industries.
well, that was my bar mitzvah theme, so you're welcome.
They'll be wrestling soon in Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah, and by the way, do you guys know, because you're more insiders than me on this kind of thing, is the Coliseum done, or is it just looking for a new buyer or new manager?
I heard done.
Oh, is
Right.
it done? Really?
Yeah, I
I
had
don't
no idea.
As of
Thanks.
when?
I saw U2 there. That was my last show there. Two or 3 years ago.
I went to some Disney thing not that long ago.
I went to my first concert there. The Who, literally.
I also went to my first concert there.
Me too.
Corn?
That's what? Wait, Family Values?
I was just thinking that up.
I was
Neil,
at that show, but that wasn't my first concert. My first concert was Motley Crue and Warrant.
Wow.
Nice.
I was 9 years old. Still remember exactly what I was wearing.
And that's the day you became a man.
That was the day I decided to become a drummer because I saw Tommy Lee rotating upside down. It was the House of Theater of what was that album?
Theater Pain.
That was the Dr.
Theater
Phil.
of Pain. Yeah.
Theater Pain's the Home Sweet Home album. Yeah.
Yes. And it was that album, and I was like, "Oh, this is great." My dad was snoring next to me, which is incredible in itself.
How can you
that he-
snore at a Motley? Like, I get it if it's not your thing, but it's
Yeah,
so
he
loud.
could sleep. He could sleep standing up on in traffic, it doesn't matter. He doesn't need much. So, yeah.
Oh my God, I wish people had smartphones because that would have been like a
Oh,
viral
so
TikTok
good.
clip.
Yeah.
So going back, what I'd heard was that just the Coliseum was kind of done and it'd been divested from the Barclays Arena people. That it was originally part of Barclays, and that's why they were getting such great talent. And then they divested it, or they made it its own company, and that's around the time it kind of failed. And that might have been back in the fall of previous year. Yeah. Okay.
Huh.
Universal shrugs. So it's not Belmont is the new Coliseum.
Yeah, supposedly. I don't know. I mean, at least for hockey. I don't know. I don't know about shows, but that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
So I think if we can recap what we've learned today is some of us went to the Vanderbilt more than others, but we all liked it. It was a great venue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Okay.
I mean, batted 1,000.
I mean, one show is good, so
Yeah,
1,000. I
it's
see
a
what
good
you
show.
did there. The parking was awkward.
I don't remember.
You know, it's. I don't remember it being a terrible experience.
Okay, I don't remember. Was there food there?
Yes.
Oh, man,
Hot
was there?
pretzels.
There was
Yeah.
some. Yeah,
like
there was
roller
something.
rink type food.
There was
Like-
definitely some roller rink type of food downstairs in that lobby area.
So
And
like
you had to climb
Elio's
up those
pizza
steps.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So the Maury organization used to own the Vanderbilt. I don't know if
Yeah.
are they still a thing? Jed Maury, like the Maury organization.
I don't
Let's
know,
see.
because all their assets were like that, WLIR, the Long Island Press.
Ouch.
I remember I had a meeting with Jed Maury. I don't remember anything of what we talked about, but I remember going to an empty Vanderbilt and meeting with him. God knows what we talked about. I have no idea.
You were
That's my
talking
story.
about talking? I don't know.
The roller rink food.
I mean, I saw Danzig there, so that's a fond memory about the Vanderbilt. But the backstage area, I think we're getting universally that was an okay situation back there.
Relative to Munchaba Lounge, yes.
Okay, the
I
bathroom
mean, relative.
was fine.
Ooh.
There was no bathroom attendant forcing you to tip or get the help to turn the knobs on.
That was like 10 years later, Long Island.
I'm thinking so. So
Yeah.
top 3 venues, I think it's going to go on that list.
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, I think some of the best shows were there. I think so. And the downtown too would maybe go on that list.
Well, that's
I mean, we could have a whole nother show about the downtown.
show,
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
show
Yeah, that place.
Well,
What's Dave Glicker doing?
he added me on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, so
That's what he's been doing.
I will find out. So, putting a to be continued note on that, I'd like to give you all please tell me your social media, your website, etc., where we can stalk you at after this conversation kind of blank.
Sure. So you could find me, Matthew_Reich. And then you could also find Artist for Artist, which is AFA Management at AFA MGMT.
Neil?
Yeah, well, the AFA, same moniker. Insaney9, my Instagram. I don't know. I'm around.
My personal Instagram is Scott Lewis Waldman. All 3 of you have been on Waldman's Words, which is my radio show for IW Radio, and that has an Instagram as well. Thank you, Matthew. And my management company that I do not have with the AFA guys, because I don't know, an incident we won't talk about, is WALD MGMT.
Not MGMT, because your albums still come out.
What's crazy is the same A&R that signed my band to Columbia signed MGMT, and I think they had a higher priority with them.
Maybe. Cannot confirm.
Wesleyan, man. Wesleyan University.
Liberal arts colleges are awesome. So on that note, I must thank all three of you and Franma for joining, for educating the masses, and for keeping Long Island's music history alive. Because without you guys...
And thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah.
Keeping it real. You're still there.
Long
It's
Beach
amazing.
Public Library and Janine and all that. To all a great evening, and let's do this again in a month.